The rise of emotionally detached INFJs is becoming alarming. Here is why. INFJs are known as the empaths of the world, deeply connected to others' emotions and capable of understanding human suffering on a profound level. But in recent years, something strange has been happening within the INFJ community. Many are becoming emotionally detached, cold, and distant. Why is this happening to one of the most emotionally intense personality types? What drives an INFJ to disconnect from their heart and the world around them? In this video, we'll dive deep into core reasons behind this alarming transformation. 1. Emotional overload leading to shutdown. INFJs absorb the emotions of others like sponges. However, after years of emotional overstimulation, their nervous system reaches a breaking point. When an INFJ can no longer handle the constant emotional turbulence of others, they unconsciously begin to shut down and detach to protect themselves from further emotional harm. An INFJ who has spent years as a counselor or caretaker often becomes emotionally numb, unable to feel anything deeply anymore. 2. Repeated betrayal and emotional manipulation. INFJs often attract toxic and manipulative people due to their compassionate nature. However, after experiencing betrayal and emotional abuse repeatedly, they build emotional walls to prevent further harm. An INFJ who gave their heart to a narcissistic partner may start suppressing their feelings and avoiding emotional connections altogether. 3. The INFJ's unmet emotional depth. Most people around INFJs operate on a surface level, leaving INFJs feeling alienated and unseen. When they continuously fail to find people who match their emotional depth, they slowly lose interest in emotional expression and withdraw into themselves. This emotional starvation leads to cold detachment. 4. Chronic emotional burnout. INFJs are natural healers who feel responsible for fixing others' emotional wounds. However, constantly carrying the emotional burdens of others leads to severe emotional exhaustion. To survive, they unconsciously cut off their empathy and feelings, functioning more like a machine than a human being. 5. The INFJ's inner war between logic and emotion. INFJs are often torn between their introverted intuition, ni, and extroverted feeling, fei. When life becomes emotionally overwhelming, they shift to their tertiary function, introverted thinking, t, becoming cold, analytical, and emotionally distant. An INFJ who has experienced intense heartbreak may start intellectualizing emotions to avoid further pain. 6. Society's lack of emotional depth and authenticity. We live in a world that rewards superficiality and emotional detachment. INFJs, who crave deep and authentic connections, struggle to find meaningful interactions. Over time, they begin detaching from their emotions as a way to survive in a world that feels fake and empty. 7. Constantly feeling misunderstood and alienated. INFJs are one of the most misunderstood personality types. When no one around them understands their emotional depth or visionary nature, they begin to isolate themselves and suppress their emotional side. An INFJ who constantly feels dismissed or invalidated eventually stops sharing their true thoughts and feelings. 8. Fear of vulnerability and emotional rejection. INFJs fear rejection on a soul-deep level. After opening up and being rejected or ridiculed multiple times, they start protecting themselves by emotionally disconnecting. An INFJ who expressed their deepest fears to a close friend only to be laughed at may vow never to open up again. 9. The INFJ's idealism being crushed by reality. INFJs have grand visions of making the world a better place. However, after facing harsh realities and witnessing human cruelty, they begin to lose faith in humanity. This emotional disillusionment leads them to emotionally detach as a form of self-preservation. 10. Toxic relationships draining the INFJ's soul. INFJs often attract emotionally needy or toxic individuals who drain their energy. When an INFJ is trapped in toxic friendships or relationships for too long, they lose their emotional vitality and start detaching from everyone around them as a survival mechanism. 11. The INFJ's hyper-intuitive mind predicting emotional disasters. INFJs have an eerie ability to foresee emotional chaos before it happens. This constant anticipation of emotional pain and betrayal forces them to detach early on as a form of protection. An INFJ sensing a friend's hidden resentment may emotionally detach before the friendship crumbles. 12. Suppression of their own emotional needs. INFJs are so focused on helping others that they often neglect their own emotional needs. Over time, this self-neglect leads to emotional numbness. An INFJ who prioritizes their partner's happiness while suppressing their own desires eventually becomes emotionally distant and cold. 13. INFJs feeling unworthy of love and connection. Deep down, INFJs often struggle with feelings of unworthiness. When they feel they are too broken, too different, or too intense for others to handle, they emotionally detach as a way to avoid rejection and abandonment. 14. The INFJ door slam, but turned inward. The infamous INFJ door slam is when an INFJ cuts off toxic people. However, when INFJs become emotionally detached, they unconsciously door slam their own emotions and intuition, shutting off their heart to protect themselves from further emotional suffering. The rise of emotionally detached INFJs is not a sign of weakness, it's a desperate survival mechanism to cope with a world that overwhelms and misunderstands them. However, emotional detachment is not the INFJ's true nature. The path to healing lies in reconnecting with your heart, setting stronger boundaries, and surrounding yourself with people who value your emotional depth. If this resonates with your INFJ soul, leave a comment and share your experience. Let's create a safe space where INFJs can feel heard and supported. Stay safe, and see you in the next one.